There were, at the time, I think 6 or 7 people in the band. And, well, first of all, Alistair Brown was not around because he had moved back to England. So he was living in Cornwall and wasn't going to be able to make the meeting, the OCFF meetings for the awards ceremony. So we thought, well, we'll represent Alistair. So Grit said, let's get this blow-up doll and dress it up like Alistair.
I'm going to say, start from Grit set.
So Grit said that he would go and buy a blow-up doll, and we would dress this up as Alistair, so that Alistair would be at the meeting. And what Grit didn't realize was that you can't just go and buy a blow-up doll, except at one particular kind of store. So he ended up being redirected and finally ended up in a sex shop in Toronto somewhere, and with the story that I need this for my friend kind of thing, right? So he finally got this blow-up doll, and he brought it to the meeting, and I took a photograph of Alistair and cut out the face and stuck the face on the front of it, and we stuck a little concertina between his arms. So that was one part of the story. The other part was that and while we were blowing up this doll, we were in the hotel room and we were blowing up this doll on the bed, and you probably won't want to use this, but it had this attachable stick-on penis, right? So we had the penis stuck on the television and room service came to the door and came into the room, and the woman was really quite nonplussed by this apparition. And Grit, at the meantime, is leaning over the doll, blowing it up on the bed. So that was kind of interesting. And then we decided we had to get it downstairs without anybody seeing. So yeah, let's get some garbage bags. Where do you get garbage bags from? Oh, well, there'll be somebody out cleaning the rooms in the corridor. So we went out, or Grit went out, and said to the lady, do you have any big garbage bags? And she said, well, yeah, how big do you want them? And he said, well, big enough to carry a body. And anyway, this story went on, and finally we got up there on stage with this doll. And we had decided that there was only one Estelle Klein award going to be handed out, and there were 6 or 7 of us, so we decided that something ought to be done about this. So I got up at the mic and I started making this speech and explaining that there were a lot of us and that there was only one Estelle Klein award, and we had this kind of creative way to deal with this situation. So I took the award, which is this beautiful wooden sculpture, as you know, and I handed it behind a screen, and Grit was behind the screen with a power saw, and you heard this, and all these pieces of wood started flying out from behind the screen, and so that was our our award ceremony. And Estelle Klein was sitting in the front row, and she thought it was really funny.
So Alistair made it to the event after all.
He did make it to the event in a rather inflated state, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. That's brilliant.
Yes.
And after the award ceremony, we had this doll that we didn't know what to do with, and we thought, well, it was Alistair, so Alistair ought to have it. So we rolled it up into its box and put his address on it, and then in the customs declaration we wrote in very large letters, sex toy, and we sent it off to him in Cornwall. And what we didn't realize was that Alistair lives in this, it's a beautiful building overlooking the harbour at St. Ives, but there are 3 or 4 other apartments in this building, and they have a common mail area on the table in the front hall. And they were away when this arrived, and they had this very sweet old lady who was collecting their mail for them every day. So here's this box that has sex toy written right across it, and this poor woman suddenly realized, was suddenly faced with what to do with this. And apparently she never mentioned it afterwards. She just handed it to them without comment, and that was it.